doing all right back there as well, so shout out to her as well.
She's happy.
Give me some good jams. I want to listen to some tunes as well. That's awesome. Kat's been doing amazing, so thank you for that. Thanks to Brendan as well, and everybody on the midday show.
And Sharif is back on Monday.
Yes, sir. Sharif is back to save.
You already got a shout out, Brankles.
Brankles, you were right. You acknowledged me when I gave you the shout out.
Literally, it happened like 2 seconds ago.
All right. Let's go. Neil, get over there. Enjoy your apple fritter.
Oh, you know I'm going to enjoy that.
You are. So get over there, and we're going to throw it over to Pratt.
We're just talking about the shirt over here, wondering if it's what kind of bird it is. So yeah, toucan bird, as the chat called it out earlier. Welcome to the after party, ladies and gentlemen. What a wild ride that was in the close. That was something, huh? We all thought that the market was going to rebalance all these stocks to the downside, your NVIDIAs, your Microsofts, your Apples, but all of a sudden, next thing you know, Microsoft actually is a $2.1 billion buy, and then guess what happens? At 355, it turns into a huge sell and it dumps down. What a monster ride overall. Like I said, sometimes it could be a nothing burger, sometimes it could be a juicy burger. Your job is to show up at the table, be ready for that opportunity if it does show up to play. You could have had that initial pop-up on the buy number itself on NASDAQ, have it run up multiple dollars in the money for you, and then kind of got out when it flipped on you, right? So multiple trade opportunities there for sure, but sadly your boy was not able to make some profits on that opportunity today, so we did have to end the day red, but I think still profitable on the week. So party indeed, and talking about party, we're about to crack this beer open. We're about to get the man, the myth, the legend, Neil, coming on the show. We'll ask him some questions. Make sure you throw in your questions in the chat over here. Also need to open this real quick. That way I can look at any questions being asked from the chat. And I'm pretty sure my friend Barry vs. Bull, the #1 moderator on YouTube, will put it in the chat for us or in the Twitter messages for me. The show over here is sponsored by Daytrade the World. Daytrade the World, the #1 prop firm out there, no doubt, absolutely no doubt about that. If you want to open up a floor of your own or want to work as a trader on the floor that you see behind us, you can go to daytradetheworld.com or scan that QR code or even email at marketing@dttw.com to learn more. So obviously you guys know how excited I am to have Neil next to me. He's actually setting up at the moment. We'll give him a second or two. Also, I heard you complaining about apple fritters. They're right here, my friend. I thought you would. Right here? They are right here. Yeah, I bought 2 because I wanted to try one. I've never had one myself. So this will be my first time trying an apple fritter, and might not be able to finish the whole thing once I saw the size of it. Once we're ready, we'll go to, nope, this one. Bang. So got mic check, mic check.
Check 1, check 2. Can everybody hear me? I hope you can. I'm glad to be here. The show's been going really well.
Thank you.
I love the fact that we're in earnings season and there's actually a little more teeth to we can look at the aftermarket. Like I know Wednesday was fantastic, but today at the close, like how many times are you going to see, Microsoft, like that $5 move back and forth? I might log back in so I can get some charts going when we have a chance to.
For sure. Would you like a beer?
I'm good. Was that with so
Just
Sean and I think we probably told you guys, like Sean and I went out with some of our old high school buddies last night. So
I saw the picture.
Had a good time.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm probably not gonna have any drinks tonight. Even though it's a Friday, I'll probably put it off till tomorrow. So
sounds good. No problem. No peer pressure over here.
It was a good night last night.
Yeah?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
We had some fun. Went to Casimoto.
Never been there.
Had a few cocktails. It's a pretty nice place.
Okay.
Mostly like Japanese cuisine, like sushi, stuff like that.
I saw the picture Sean posted on his Twitter where Sean posted the boys hanging out and his wife replies, "Gentlemen," correcting him on the word boys. I found that funny a little bit.
We're not gentlemen at all.
The Sean and his wife having a little back and forth there on the interwebs and so on. Neil, I'm sure
we're not gentlemen.
We're not gentlemen.
We're not gentlemen.
Neil, I'm sure people have a lot of questions over here regarding, your trading career, how long it took you to, maybe kind of get started. But my first question that I want to dive into over here is, you and I have the same amount of journey to get to work, kinda, right? I know what makes me get up every single day to get into work. What is it for you?
So first things first, I get up really, really early in the morning. But when I was in high school, I used to wake up at 5:30. Like I would get when I was a kid, when I was like 10 years old, I would get up with my dad, have breakfast with him at like 5 something in the morning when I was like 10, and then I would go back to sleep because I didn't need to be up that early. I've always been an early riser. I don't need any motivation to get up in the morning, but the motivation to come into work and trade has everything to do with I love sports. I was a decent athlete, but like I'm not. Was never going pro in anything like that. But trading is the closest thing I feel if you're not an athlete to get that same game day feeling every single day. Like when LeBron steps on the basketball court, the rules are always the same. The net's the same height. It's 5-on-5, all that good stuff, except when they make up new traveling rules every single year. It's basically the same thing, but it's never the same outcome. There's always a nuance different. You can put the same team in a series, and every night's going to be different. The market is just like that. The structure is not going to change on you. The stock you trade one day might be at a different price. There's little intricacies that'll never make it boring. But you get that same game day feeling to get pumped up and get ready for it. So when I get here early, I sit down. It's before 7 a.m. When I get into the office, usually Brendan beats me. I used to always be the first person in the office back from when I was a trainee. Generally speaking, no trader would ever beat me to the floor.
Right.
And that was always true until Brendan started doing the morning prep. And then now Brendan's the first person in the door, and then I'm like 10 minutes after him.
Right.
And it's nice and quiet in here. You can have a little CNBC on in the background, which we don't really do anymore.
Yeah.
We used to before our show was on. And then we're going through the prep. Like I get to what stocks did overnight. Sometimes I'll review like a high flyer that's going in the morning, may pop on the chat, say hi to Fat Figga. Who's the first person? Fat Fig is the first person in the chat every single day.
Shout out Fat Figga.
Outside of myself. Because I put the stream live in the morning because I'm in early. And then he's always trying to beat me to the first leg.
Is he the one who puts number 1 in the chat always?
Yeah.
Okay.
He likes to be that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the motivation is more about that game day feeling.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't beat it. If anyone has played sports, anything you're passionate about, right? Like that's it. It's just, even like the preparation, the anticipation of the open, and then when it gets there, it's just always new. Every day's new.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think that's part of the, part of the reason why I quit most of the jobs I worked before, right? Any job that, the IT job or even the cooking job that I worked, is with cooking, apparently AMC is going insane in the after hours. Sean just called us. So
Do you have your charts up?
I'm going to open up trade ideas because our after hours are going to crash after 4:15 and we're not going to get any data. So I'm going to open up trade ideas over here. But apparently AMC is indeed going insane. Quick pulling up the charts in a second over here. There we go. Bang, bang, and AMC. So let's take a look at that. AMC or AMD? AMC. Oh, I put an MC. That makes sense. Hello, keyboard, please work. The A button doesn't work on this keyboard. Oh, there we go. AMC. Now that it works. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. AMC actually popping up to the north side. Barbie versus Oppenheimer. Obviously, Oppenheimer and Barbie. Oppenheimer is going to be one of the biggest movies out there. I know Neil is a big movie buff, and you love movies. Are you interested in going to watch Oppenheimer, made by the one and only Christopher Nolan?
I definitely want to see that. But I think the interesting thing with the Barbie thing is it's about Mattel.
Mattel. The toys and
Mattel's
Barbie.
gonna have like 14. They want like 14 movies that they want to make based on those products. So Mattel might be interesting to watch in the upcoming weeks. Can we go back to the AMC chart there for a quick second? Because just remember in the aftermarket, like how some of the rules just don't apply, right? Like if you zoom in, you don't have any halts in the aftermarket. You have reduced liquidity. You don't have working stop orders for traders. So some of the types of moves that'll happen, there's nothing stopping it. Right, like there's none of these artificial reasons that'll make it normally like mean regress. So you can get this kind of explosion, and if you're looking for it and you have the ability to trade pre and post market, now I'm not advocating that necessarily this is the best route to go because of the amount of risk that's involved with trading the aftermarket. But if you do have something that works for you, and you say you're anticipating a move because Mattel has a movie coming out. I guess it's not really Mattel's movie. They get a piece of it, and they're gonna probably sell a bunch of merchandise off of it. But it's not
Mattel
really their
did
movie.
pop in the after hour
But they
too,
did
as
make
you
a
see.
move. They did make a move as well. It's just that if you were anticipating that, maybe you're looking for a breakout. Just understand liquidity is going to be at a premium. When you're trying to get out, if you're wrong on a trade in the aftermarket, getting out is different. It's not like, oh, you go long on a 7 break in Lucid or Siri, let's just say, and you get out at 695 and you're printed at 694. That's not the way it's going to go if you're trading AMC in the aftermarket. If it breaks an even dollar, you might lose an extra 10 cents of slippage.
Right.
It might be 20. To be honest, I've never traded in the aftermarket myself, so I couldn't really tell you. But just always understand the ways that it is a little bit different. And look, if it squeezed, that'd be fun to watch. Maybe what's Ape doing? I'm kind of curious because there's always that hedge aspect that's been going on. Okay, so there you go. So like there's that divergence that goes on, like when Ape goes up and AMC down, and vice versa here. So Ape tanking the downside. Is there other news here going on with regards to?
I mainly see Barbie versus Oppenheimer as a #1 news article, and don't really see anything other than besides that. I guess I would have to kind of scrounge the interwebs. I don't have Brendan's terminal, sadly. I think you're sitting at his computer, and you actually know how to use it because you've done.
Nobody logged out of everything. So.
Oh man!
I know. I thought he would have left it on here, but he's got his Benzinga up, so I've never used that one before. So I'm gonna see if I can't get AMC on here for you guys. Yeah, he logged the other one out, but that's fine. AMC Holdings Ape deal rejected in surprise court win for the meme stock. See, this is much different. That's why I was like, look at Ape, because this is not about Mattel.
Right.
The reason you would have Ape going to the downside and AMC going up is previously when they were doing the conversion, if it were to happen, you would have naturally expected those prices to converge back. Hence, Ape go up. AMC go down, and there was a bunch of hedge funds that were betting on that. So if this doesn't go, and I don't have a continuation of the story, I just have the headline, AMC Holdings, Ape deal, here we go, surprise court win for the meme stock base. There's got to be a way that I can open this up and read more of the story, but I can't seem to do it. But anyways, that's why you'd have Ape coming to the downside, because its upward pressure would come and match AMC stock price. We'll see how that one develops. It looks like things are leveling off a little bit here. If we see any more headlines, we'll let you guys know real time. You don't really get that very often. Here I'm thinking we're just going to talk a little bit about trading journey and all that, and you get an AMC to the moon type situation.
772. AMC taking out $6 and is now at $7.70, almost $8 coming in.
That is
Monster.
Nice if you've got the long. Yeah, and again, just to show you guys the headline, I just popped it out. AMC Entertainment Holdings, Ape deal rejected in surprise court win for the meme stock base. Believe it or not, it was as simple as me just hitting this little button and then it pops up. That's exactly what Brendan does. So now that I know how that works, I used to sit at this desk when Brendan was off before Sharif came in.
Yeah.
But everything was different. We had a different setup. Now he's using Benzinga over here. So I'm just kind of learning it on the fly, but it's not that difficult. It's actually a really good platform. And I see it even has the chart set up here. So I can even be pulling up for myself, I just realized. So yeah, let's go AMC when I want to. That's what I want to be watching on Trade ID. So I'll monitor it as well. But I cannot stare at this. Like, I've been doing my best.
Go for it.
There's no napkins or anything though.
There should be a pile here.
I just don't want to be I don't want to be a slob.
There's a pile here that I always have for safety.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because I'm known to drop water all over my tables.
Don't do that.
That's why I keep a stack of tissues always around me, just in case I need to wipe it up real quick.
So if you
always
don't wanna...
knocking over. That's why I buy bottles with lids on it. But our bottles at work don't have lids. So if I knock that one over, there's water all over my desk mat and everything. So it's like I gotta keep tissues.
So Brad, one of my biggest pet peeves actually, and in my house, like, I'm not obsessive compulsive or anything. I know people that are. My roommate in university was. Great to have an obsessive compulsive cleaning roommate in university, because I was a bit of a slob and everything was immaculate. But when people put like a bottle or something and they leave it on the edge of a table,
oh yeah,
it's an unnecessary risk. And I hate to always bring everything back to trading analogies and risk to reward.
No, it's
But
how you got to do it.
If the downside of an action is non-zero, like it exists, downside exists. It's rare that I might knock it over, but it might happen. It's not zero, it's like this. But the upside of having it on the edge versus at a reasonable spot, I'm not losing anything for moving it to a safer spot.
No.
But if I don't move it, there's a small chance I might spill it.
Yeah.
If there is zero downside for you taking an action, but there's even the smallest upside, of course. It is the literal equivalent, to me, leaving it on the edge is the exact equivalent of buying a lottery ticket and not checking the numbers. Not checking to see if you won and just throwing it out. Like, sure, you probably didn't win. Of course you didn't win. But if you just throw it out, you don't have the chance. That is exactly the same thing as taking an unnecessary risk. When I see people on the subway and they're standing on the yellow line as it comes in, I'm like, look, you're not going to fall over because you're a normal person that can't, there's no reason why you're going to trip and fall in that situation. But look, man, what if something unforeseen, you don't know. Like maybe something happens to you, God forbid, medically, something like that, or someone brushes past you, you lose your balance, you fall on the tracks. Like, why would you take a risk? And that comes down to trading as well.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as if I have a stop order to go long on a 100 break, and I need to go to the bathroom. Am I going to, it's not break, it's at 99, it's not there yet, I'll just leave it and go long, whatever. Go to the bathroom and come back, I'll be okay. No, just cancel the order.
Yeah.
Put it back in when you sit down. So I can turn literally anything into a trading analogy that's worthwhile. But let's do this.
Yeah, let's try this apple fritter. Cheers, my friend.
I'm not
Cheers.
actually going to clunk. That's just weird.
That's why we did the air cheers. Okay, I can see why you like it.
Now, Tim Hortons, you know how to do this right. And this is like, Tim Hortons ain't paying us anything, quite frankly, but I love these so, like, there is no pastry in the world outside of something homemade, right? Like my mom's, my aunt, my brother's is great at baking. One of my brothers actually, he does like design cakes and like
the
specialty
fancy ones?
candies. Yeah, he does all that stuff.
Okay.
And my other brother's an artist. I have no artistic talent whatsoever. It's very strange.
I would like to say you do, because what you do on the show, being a host, that's an art, my friend. I'll tell you that. Being able to trade the way you do, put up a show the way you do, entertain people, rap sometimes, all in the while you're doing one of the most toughest, like, mental jobs out there to do. If that's not art, then I don't want to be artistic.
Don't big head me, bro.
I don't want to listen to anything artistic ever again. Like, that is art in itself.
I appreciate that.
Right?
Like, it's one thing people don't see. Anyways, to kind of end that thought, this is like the only like store-bought or like brand-bought pastry that like I just can't get enough of.
Right.
Like, usually like it's got to be home cooked for a pastry. That's why I say that. But when it comes to, and I appreciate all of that, what most people don't realize is day trader has offices around the world. So the entire genesis of how this all started was I was managing on the trading floor. Sean's position was like going around office. Not really. At that time, there was no traveling. It was mostly done by phone call. And people would open office, and then his job was to kind of talk to them through the process of hiring and training and all that stuff. And then the idea came, why would do a bunch of Zoom calls? Because everyone was doing Zoom calls with Sean, and then we had a program where if someone wanted to visit the head office, an office manager could actually visit us. And they'd come to the floor. I'd train them for a week on the bridge, give them a seat on there, and they'd be able to learn in the regular process. So that was happening. People were flying in to do that for a week every now and then. And then outside of that, they were talking to Sean on these calls. And the idea came, why not put a webcam on Sean and just actually be able to handle more? Why say the same thing over and over again to like 20 different people when you can say it to them at once?
Right.
And that was it. It wasn't the show.
The inception of the show.
That was,
Yeah.
and then we're sitting there while Sean's on vacation on a Friday, and we're going over like the process of how it's going to look and everything. And the producer at that moment he turns. We're just standing there, and I'm on the bridge because that's where I sit.
Yeah.
And he turns to me and he says, "Man, wouldn't it be really cool if it was more like a radio show, like a Howard Stern, and it was just a couple of guys talking back and forth like one of those, and it's a little more entertaining so people would watch it more and learn more out of it that way because it was entertaining." And as he's saying that, I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. I'm like, oh crap, there's nobody else. Like, I'm right here. He knows Sean and I have been friends. And he's like, you and Sean have been friends for a long time, haven't you? I'm like, yeah, I've known since high school. And don't you think it would be good if you guys did the show together? I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I had no thoughts of doing it. And that turned from that to on Monday, that's what's happening. So Sean didn't even know it was going to be the two of us.
Right.
Until he showed up on Monday and they had it set up and then we both did it. It was off YouTube for like 7 or 8 months. That's why
That's when I first kind of remember seeing you guys. When I first joined the Day Trade the World umbrella, it was through a different office. And then I remember watching you and Neil on some sort of a private web link. Right, and the office looked a little bit more different that you streamed through too. I'm guessing it was the back office over there.
Nope. We were, so you know where you did the midday
right?
with Valeria.
Right.
We were in that corner. Everything looked a little bit different, but we were in that corner, and we were facing a different direction. So the background was very different.
Yeah.
And the floor looked very different at the time. At the time, it was the original layout of the trading floor we moved in, and that's changed several times over. So I don't know if there exists footage of it before we went onto YouTube, but it was terrible. I mean, I sucked. Like, Sean was always pretty good. He's had the gift of the gab, but I sucked.
Work in progress. You learned along the way, and you guys streamed to, I believe, like, what, 4 or 5 viewers for like a year straight, to the point where now you're streaming to thousands and thousands of viewers, and the way you have improved from where I first saw you till now is drastic, okay? But I'm going to stop boosting your ego over there. I think I've stroked it quite ego quite a bit.
Me, I legit sucked when we started. Like,
so did I, right?
I was,
so
like,
did I.
I was dead air, all that kind of stuff. Like, lots of dead air.
The next thing I want to get into is, obviously you've done managing a floor before, and you're still a manager of the floor, even though most of the duties have been relinquished to kind of Greg or so on.
It's just, honestly, I technically still have the title, and I monitor the accounts, and they still ask me advice, but I don't do any of the day-to-day anymore. Like Greg Rankles, they handle 97% of it. I do like 2 or 3 things left. I'll handle some settlements, and a few things I'll still do, but those guys manage the floor now.
So, from your previous experiences, because last week we had Greg here, right? And we asked Greg, it's like, through your managerial experiences, what is like the one thing you learned from being a manager as to what a good trader does and what a bad trader does and what allows them to grow and succeed?
So I'll give you, and it's my favorite thing to say, one of the things I still do is when a trader graduates, I give them, it's like a little talk that's, remind them of how the system works, how you get paid, and how risk works, and all that kind of stuff. Greg can do it, but I just like doing it. It's fun because I haven't got to talk to the graduates during the process as much because I'm doing the show. And one of the messages I give every single trader at the end, I usually ask a question to them, right? So I pose it like this. Imagine you've traded for 1 week, you have 5 trading days in a week, let's just say. And as a trader, on day 1, you've made $1,000. On day 2, you've made $1,000. On day 3, you made absolutely nothing, so you're flat that day. Day 4, let's say you lose $2,000. Okay, and then on day 5, again, you make $1,000. So out of 5 trading days, let's imagine somehow that's a consistent way you can trade. Just an example, to prove a point. At the end of that week, you're positive. You had 3 positive days. You had 1 flat day. You had 1 losing day. But when you come on a Monday, like, what kind of a risk taker are you? Now, everyone can do the math on that. Say 3 up days, 1,000. You lost 2. Okay, so you're up $1,000 over 5 days. You made $200 a day. So when you come in on Monday, what kind of a trader do you feel you are? And I'm going to answer this one for you. You think you're a $1,000 a day trader. You've made $200 a day. That is your actual P&L. On average. Now, there are traders that swing that way, so they might have a big variance on their up days and down days, but are generally positive. This does happen sometimes. But the point being here is you feel like a $1,000 risk taker. You're trying to make $1,000 that day, and you're willing to risk $2,000 to do it. That's clearly how you are, but you're a $200 a day trader. It's about understanding truly where your P&L comes from, what risk to reward you should be applying, because it's dangerous for that trader to start ramping up without understanding the manner in which they're swinging, right? Because what'll happen to a trader like that, who might be consistently positive, they do that for a bit, and it works a little bit in their favor. Like, suddenly you don't have the down day that week. That's a very drastic swing. Like something like that, taking that $2,000 loss away and putting a $1,000 winner on it drastically changes the week. Your P&L goes up 4x if you do that. So if you have that trader has 1 week like that, after being $200 a day and $1,000 a week on that profile, you have 1 week that bucks that trend and you make 4x, right? So you don't have the losing day. You have 4 winners in a flat day. Then what happens if that same trader leverages up because of that 1 week? They double up. They're like, oh, I made 4 times as much, double my risk. Well, then you go back to the normal, and if you have 2 down days, well, you were losing 2,000.
You give it all back and more.
Suddenly, and then you run a big hole right away. Yeah. So I warn people to be very careful when you're leveraging up. Make sure you have a consistent strategy that's actually paying you out. Know where your P&L comes from. Understand your P&L curve. Know your ups and downs. No two traders are the same. I traded next. I won't name his name. I graduated at the same time in 2003 with a trader on the floor. We sat next to each other. We traded similar style with penny stocks and then buyouts and all that kind of stuff. We're very, very similar in a lot of ways. We learn a lot from each other. And after 5 years, let me start about this way. He probably shut down 20 times as often as I did. And I probably had, in the span of 5 years, maybe 5 or 6 months where I was very clearly better than him. So very drastically different on the same types of stocks. In 5 years, and they used to have this back, and we kind of joked about it, our P&L was within 1% of each other.
Right. And
it was an incredibly different, distinct path. So different from each other, but we both understood who and what we were. Like I'm never going to be the trader that gives a rat's ass if I make the most on the floor. However, usually on a day where the floor is bad, because of my risk profile and the way that I look at risk, I'm never going to be the worst trader on those days. Yeah. A lot of times, if I've had my best day, it might be because it was really tricky in the market and I just managed to manage risk the best. But when it's easy money to be made, I was never going to be like the #1 guy, because that's who I am as a trader. Yeah. Whereas other traders are very likely to be one or top or bottom on it. So long story short, because I tend to run on.
No, you're good.
A little bit here.
You got to know yourself in trading. If not, the markets, I think that's actually a pretty good quote that I read from, shout out to you lending me the book over there. In that book, he actually quotes somebody else. And in that quote says, the market is, if you don't know yourself, the market is an expensive place to learn. And they're not wrong. If you don't know yourself, you're paying a really expensive tuition, a really expensive fee to really find out who you are, what type of person you are, what type of things you like. And I'm also learning it the hard way. I wish I knew who I am. I'm now kind of like, using market, gym, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I love that,
to like learn and get mature more. But I wish I was already there before coming here, because I'm having to learn the hard way about trading. But this is the journey that I'm on, and this is the path that I chose, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. If you don't love it, why are you here? Right? Exactly. So I'm loving it. Let's dive a little bit deeper into your penny stock journey. After your buyout, I'll keep asking the questions, so feel free to keep chewing your awesome apple fritter over there. So good. I do like it. It's my first time actually having it, so it's pretty good. But it doesn't go well with the beer, so I might have to finish that later on my way home. So I'll actually put it back in here. Doesn't go that well with my beer at all. And this damn fly is so annoying.
Don't listen to this guy.
It doesn't go well with beer, I'll tell you that. The beer completely changed the flavor of the fritter. I just want to trace pure fritter. What was I saying? Your penny stock experience and your penny stock journey, which is pretty, I guess it's not that surprising being how old you are, right? But, this age when, I'm joking, this time, anyone who joins the floor...
I was waiting for that.
Anyone who joins the floor now, they immediately deter away from penny stocks. It's a very certain type of group of people who maybe even look at penny stocks. Back in the day, the penny stocks were more liquid. Well, maybe not more liquid, but they gave you more opportunities to put the pennies in there and so on.
It was
so
a
what
different
was that?
Thing.
Yeah.
So I started in 03, which would have been, it's not that far after the dot-com burst. So it makes logical sense where penny stocks that were hot to trade, because you had a lot of companies that were very valuable. Internet Capital Group, I traded a ton of that back in the day. They were, $50, $100, and they all tanked and they're under $1. Like a lot of companies have done the last couple of years that have done that now, and they're now penny stocks. So there was tons of volume and tons of action in them. But when I started out, there was our group had 2 groups of 10, it was 20 traders, trainees that were hired on the floor. they broke us up into 2 groups. 10 were put on small cap stocks and 10 were put on momentum stocks. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to draw trend lines, trade tech, and I was in the momentum group. And I remember like my second month I was positive, and then it was weird. Like when I got positive, it's like I hit this plateau and I just couldn't do any better, and I couldn't get to the graduation. And so I get into this and I get into the 3rd month, and based on the way that I trade and risk profile, I was pulled aside and said, you might just be better off the way that you look at the market, trading some of these lower cap stocks, putting on some bigger shares with those. It's just going to fit your style. I made the switch and graduated my 1st month. So my lesson to anybody out there that wants to trade is, you can love trading and you can want it as your passion, but you can't lock in thinking that this is the trader I'm going to be. Whatever makes money for you, just do that. It might not be the thing you find the most exciting or the sexiest. That's not necessarily how trading goes. You find yourself as a trader, and then you make money however it works. And a lot of traders have this whole, oh man, you're a penny stock trader, you're not a real trader, bro. Oh, you don't trade the
I don't know
NASDAQ
why that
in New York,
happens, but I know
you're not
it
a
does.
real trader. Oh, you trade on the European markets? Oh, futures trading, that ain't for no. That's all hogwash, BS, bullshit. I cut bullshit.
You know what Greg calls it?
It's bullshit.
Greg says the
haters.
bank doesn't know where the money came from.
They don't care.
It's
It
all the
doesn't
same
matter.
in the bank account.
It's all ego.
Yeah.
It's all ego to say that this is real trading and that's not real trading. Your P&L go up when you make the trade. That's all that matters. So don't get caught up in that game. Maybe you are a momentum trader, and if trading the big cap tech works for you, then go ahead and do that. And a lot of traders don't have the ability, or they just, for whatever reason, can't get over that hump of recognizing it's worth it trying everything out. There was a trader, I know you know who I'm talking about. There's a trader on our floor. He has his own trading office now.
Right.
And bar none, he's been around for a while. He's been in the game a good amount of time. But bar none, we would get a new market at Day Trade the World. And on the trading floor, I can guarantee you, like the first day, he's trying it out.
Any gateway, any market.
Any new gateway we get. And it was a pain in the butt because when I would do settlements, every single month, it's like I have to go buy each different market that we trade.
And currency, I think,
and
right?
each currency that we trade. And like we'd have like 20 different European markets. There's a free entitlements on this and that.
He's probably watching right now.
And because of this one guy, I'd have like 7 or 8 different things to do. And thank you very much. You know who you are. But he was consistently profitable because he had that fire to try new things and always stay fresh. Whereas if you're only ever willing to do one thing, I'm going to be the Tesla trader, and that's just going to work for me. If it works, great. But if that's not you, and you don't give yourself a chance to try other things, well, then you could have flamed out in trading, but you had a chance to be successful.
Right.
Because you didn't give it a real shot. A lot of traders don't give it enough time to work. A lot of traders are too aggressive at the start, so that they bust themselves out too easily, and that means they can't let it work. And a lot of traders aren't willing to try other things for it to work. And I learned a lot about support and resistance and supply and demand trading penny stocks. Because when you trade those types of names, when you identify an axe or like a liquidity, a big buyer or a big seller, it's really obvious to see back in the day. And I'd take that information and then see what it looked like on the chart, and then be able to learn this is how you can utilize support and resistance. When this is good support and resistance, this is garbage. I'll go long off this one. If it breaks, that's a false breakout. This is an iceberg order. This is a refresher buyer. All of those things are happening on a penny stock a lot slower for you to be able to take it in, whereas it might happen really, really fast on a momentum stock. So when you trade those, I would learn those same practices and be able to really think about it and be able to really take that information in. And then now when you see like NVIDIA today, 442.50, had a refresher at the bottom, was short 40.44, got out, it popped like $3-4. Like in real time, when you have seconds to process it.
Like Rivian today.
Yeah, I mean, you see that iceberg, you see that buyer and seller like that.
Yeah.
But you looked at slow moving buyouts.
Yeah.
We know what a refresher looks like because we've watched it in slow motion
again and again.
Yeah. Get your repetition.
I think
in.
buyouts honestly taught me, and that person you were talking about, the guy who made you work in all those currencies, he actually told me, Brad, to shut up, start trading buyouts, that too on the Canadian market. when SJR, was it SJR or
Yeah.
SJR.B, right? Yeah. When SJR starts moving, or back in the day, CJX, Cineplex.
Cineplex
It
was
moves
good
so slow, you just get to learn and understand, and you're forced to take 100 shares on the Canadian market. So you take 100 shares and you're sitting there, just, mid-print, mid-print, dark pool, they're punching, they're selling. You're always just constantly learning. I learned so much through that I actually apply it on now Momo trades throughout the day, the momentum trades throughout the day. Neil, I know you don't have much time left with us, sadly. AMC did take some of our time out. So I have two things to say. One, you're coming back for another full show another time in the future.
I will.
And I really like this question because this question might help someone out in the future, especially this person over here, Saad Mahmood, asking, I'm going to be a dad soon. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Right?
It's best
Go for it. Yeah.
Best feeling in the world.
Congratulations. How do you balance being a dad and a trader in terms of doing work, research, playing with the kid, and all that outside of the market stuff, and having to deal with the market?
So when I'm at home, I'm dad. I get in early so that I can do my prep. I take a train in so I can go through things, take notes. I go through emails sometime, but also go through trades, read up on the markets. I do that while I'm on the train. I utilize my commute for that. On a Sunday night, if my daughter's gone to bed, I can review charts at that point. Like when she's asleep, if I'm still up, that is my time to dig into trading. And I utilize that, but it's very important to you've got to have time for yourself. And if you're a trader, then that's when you utilize that to do your research, that kind of thing. What I do not do is, if I'm playing with my daughter and news comes out I don't know, you happen to see on your phone like something happened overnight in like Bitcoin or whatnot. No, I'm not checking out the chart. Not going to do it. I've found, and I learned this actually really early on, there was a moment one time when my daughter was very young, like she was still she was like 1.5, 2 years old. And like every now and then you check your phone while you're playing. And then I remember like just one time, like her reaction, she wasn't saying anything. It was just the way that she would look at me if I was checking my phone while we were playing. And then I had a very good friend of mine, my roommate from university. He was with us one time. He's like, "Be in the moment, man." And I thought I was good at it, but I realized I wasn't. And so that's my biggest advice to you. Be in the moment. By the time you get to an older age, or your kid gets 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatnot, you've spent like 80% of the time that you are going to have with your child will have been over before they're a teenager.
Right.
Like think about that. Like you can spend all the time in the world you want. You can think that you're involved in their lives when they're past being really young. But the truth is, you are the center of their universe for only so long.
Yeah.
And that is your chance, not just for yourself, for them, but trust me, it's for you as well, to spend that absolute quality time.
I don't know how much of this story is actually true, which is Michael Jordan and Nike deal. Every time Nike tried to approach Michael Jordan for a deal, which is the Jordan deal, Jordan would say no. And it's not because he wasn't saying no to them. He was busy with his kid. It was his day with his kid. He's taking him to baseball. He's taking him to go play a game. And they just randomly picked a date where he had to go spend time with his kid. And he said no. Every time they came up, no. Every time they came up, no. And one day they did actually come up where he didn't have to take care of his kid. And the deal was signed. And they're like, why did you reject us every single time? He's like, I had to take care of my kid. I was always going to say yes to you. You just kept raising your price. My answer was always yes to begin with, but not when I'm taking care of my kid.
That's a great story.
I don't know how much of this story is true because I've heard it from like people before, my friends or like teachers in the past and so on. And that story sticks with me still. The value of family, the value of like sticking with the people you love and being in that moment. I love that very much. Neil, thank you for hanging out for this extra 45 minutes or so. Appreciate that. We're going to have an episode 2. We're going to dive into all of these questions that the chat's actually throwing out as some really good questions.
How about this? Yeah. I'll give you a couple more minutes if you want to do a couple more questions.
Okay, yeah. Chat's asking another great question. Bao SNW. Sorry to ask again about discipline. How to fight the temptation of shorts what's too high and not grab something that's dropping too low.
So how to resist the temptation, because it's basically over trading, right? So like you want to make sure you're doing the A+ setup. That there's not an easy answer. Like, cause some people are inherently disciplined as traders, and then you might, like, you don't overtrade, but then you might miss opportunities because you're a little bit cautious. That would be myself. Or you could be in the other direction. You might lean to, I make a lot of trades and I need to find a way to bring myself back in. First, figure out which one you are. So if you are the person that's good at self-regulating, maybe be looking for more opportunities. I'm assuming you're talking about the other way. You see plenty of opportunities out there. You need to know which ones are A+ and or not. The best way around this, I know everyone talks about journaling. People trade for a long time, they might stop doing it. I kind of technically stopped doing it. I make some notes, but it's not the same as when I started. You really have to look at all of your trades independently and be able to see where your P&L is coming from. Like, what is actually paying you out? What types of setups? When I enter, you could take 2 trades on Apple. One of them could have been a breakout, and another could have been a developing long off of a support level. So your P&L on Apple will reflect how you did on the day, but you might have made 2 very different trades. And so if all you've done at the end of the day is say, well, I was up on Apple, what I was doing made sense, but your breakouts could be 10 times better than when you're buying off support levels, just as an example. So understand where your P&L comes from. It will give you the confidence to put more leverage and only get in when it's an A+ setup. It's not an easy answer to develop the discipline. It comes over time and usually from taking some hits. So, we try to show you, like, I'll say all the time, man, I was an idiot doing that. And I do that to remind myself usually when I've made a mistake. And all you're ever trying to do as a trader is reduce the number of mistakes that you're making. It'll never be 0. You will never get to 0 for bad trades. You will never get to 0 for FOMO trades. You'll never be perfect. You will never only get perfect. It's just not going to happen for you. So for anybody, for that matter. So all you can really do is constantly try and build your process to be better. But if you don't understand what you are good at in the first place, like which things work, which things don't, then you have to start there. Like I have found, I said the front end, back end, if I'm trying to short a big move, I know that all of my best trades and successful trades are when it's made that top, trapped longs, and then I'm getting the short consolidation after that. The ones where I'm getting it on the front end, it's taking me, I'm getting filled on the way up in, that's just never the way to go for me. I still do it sometimes, but I know what I'm looking for and the mistake that I do not want to make. So I hope that helps. There's no perfect answers in trading, but stick with the show and we'll have that journey together.
And if you haven't already,
if you're enjoying this video, please take a second and hit the like and subscribe on this channel. And never forget, do not put pineapple on your pizza.
I had to, Neil. I had to. You're the special guest today. I had to use your animations. Obviously, guys, do smash the like and all that. Well, I thought it played again because I just saw the replay on my screen. I kind of tripped out. But yeah, do smash the like and all that fun stuff. Thank you, Neil, for again taking that extra time off your day for this weekend. Enjoy your weekend. I'm sure. I will, my friend. I'm going to be gaming my butt off all weekend. So it's going to be great. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. And can't wait for episode number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, scan that QR code. Day Trade the World, sponsored by. See you guys all Monday. And we're going to have a great earnings season. Ciao.
Bye, everybody.